What's up, guys? It's Stiff Leg, and today we're going to be talking about how old should you be to start dieting, what's too soon, what's the point where you should feel comfortable with, and my initial thoughts on it, why would you want to do that, and concerns. Okay, so let's get into it. When I initially started thinking about this, my initial thoughts were, yes, it should be easy, but then I started thinking about it, and now it's like, well, there's a huge difference between someone like me or, a 30-year-old or 40-year-old dieting compared to someone that, is 10, maybe 15, even like 18, depending on. So there are some things to be concerned about here, okay? But then we're gonna talk about that. First, we're gonna talk about why, okay? So why would someone want to diet? It could be for different purposes. I know typically people think of dieting as losing weight, but that's not always the case. Technically, dieting could also be you trying to gain weight. If you're someone that is naturally very, very skinny and you would like to put on weight, that could also be done as well. So, dieting is not just, again, losing weight. It also could be gaining weight. So, but hopefully, that of course, we're talking about good weight here. I'm not just trying to get, fat. Hopefully, it could be that you're, been working out and you're wanting to put on some size. That does require you to eat more, okay? Inversely, it could be that, you're a little bit heavier and you were trying to lose weight, okay? So that's the main reason that we're typically dieting down. But possible concerns here, okay? So, as a fully grown adult, there are possible concerns. So we're gonna talk about first, adults dieting, and then we're gonna talk about younger people, of course, dieting. So, as an adult, what's some possible concerns about dieting, okay? So, dieting, as far as gaining weight, we can possibly go too far, okay? We can get too heavy and trying to gain muscle that put on a substantial amount of fat that we then have to try to work off, okay? So that could be one, okay? We can also go with the reverse thing. There could be a case where someone's trying to get skinny and they're trying so hard and everything that they get to the point where they're not really eating much, okay? And that can also bring some health concerns along as well, okay? So, moving on to what are some of the concerns I personally have though for dieting. For people, it could be that they could be so obsessed with losing weight that they could eventually develop a form of anorexia or some really unhealthy eating disorders that need to be addressed. On the flip side, for a lot of times there are young men that are trying to gain weight, trying to get as much muscle as they possibly can, and those chances they can really go overboard with it and really put on a ton of fat that they then have to work up to the point that you could have excess skin because you bulked so much, and now you're trying to lose that weight, and now that could leave you with those kind of issues, okay? And now that's just for adults, okay? So moving on to younger people, I think I have a lot more concerns for them dieting. It's definitely much easier for me as a fully grown adult to be able to say, okay, I've gained this much weight, we're starting to get a little chunky, it's time to slow down here, okay? But on the flip side, for somebody much younger, they might not have their brain fully developed to where they can look in the mirror and say, all right, we got to cut the bulk, we got to stop now, okay? So that's my concerns with bulking too much for a young person. On the flip side of dieting, there of course is losing weight, okay? Now, there's a lot of a lot of nasty things that we can talk about here as far as dieting, particularly for young people. My biggest concern though is that a lot of young people aren't done growing, okay? So there are a ton of people whenever they're younger, their body will start really holding onto weight because they're about to go through a possible growth spurt. I know me personally, whenever I was younger, I was like a much chunkier kid, and then I had my growth spurt and then grew 10 inches, okay? And I went from chunky to very, very skinny in a quick period of time because I grew so much, okay? So it could be that, yeah, your body's starting to hold on to weight and you don't really like it, but that could be because your body's about to go through a possible growth spurt, okay? So there are some concerns here that your body does need a certain amount of body fat in order to develop properly, okay? Especially for young people, they're just starting to hit puberty and everything. You need that fat in order for your hormones to develop properly. Especially at this age, this critical growing period for people in like their teens and even into their early 20s and everything. Your brain really doesn't fully develop until you're into your like mid 20s. So you really want to give yourself the best chance of developing fully. That includes adequately giving nutrients to your body. So now there are some caveats though. Of course, I do think some kind of moderate weight loss idea or weight gain idea is perfectly fine for young people. Okay, and obviously that's going to depend a lot on you. If you're a 16-year-old boy that's 5'10", 6'2", your ability to eat and gain and lose weight is going to be probably a lot more easier than a 4'11" girl. Okay, so it really depends on size differences and everything else on a person. Okay, but even with that being said, though, you have to be cognizant of possible problems and make sure you're not taking things too far. It's really about moderation. But I definitely would be very hesitant if I was a young person that was still growing to do any kind of like specific dieting. And if I was going to diet, it would definitely be seeking professional guidance rather than just trying to wing it on your own. Okay, so that being said, guys, that's my thoughts on how old should you be to start dieting. I think there are a lot of merits to it, but there's also a lot of things that you need to be concerned about and wary of before you really dive headlong into it. Okay, but with that being said, we're going to bring this video to a close. Make sure you guys like and subscribe, and yeah, have a great rest of your day.